Hello, Algebra 1 students. If you're with Mr. Fry, Mr. Leininger, whoever the sub's going to be, looking at evaluating functions, I want to take you through the odd problems here. What you're going to do is you're going to solve each function for the requested value. So you have this function, and it gives you first the value of what g, the x would be for the function of g of x. So all you're doing here is you're substituting this value in for wherever you see x. So you see that I plug in my -1 for x here and here, here and here. I put in parentheses, and I could have this in parentheses too if you're working it out on your calculator. My x value, so I know what I'm putting in each time, and then you could go back in your calculator. You could set it up in your calculator and go back and just change that value every time, so you don't have to constantly be putting it in there. So if you're working in a calculator, what I mean is set it up -1 and then in parentheses, and that's squared, and -5 parentheses -1 back parentheses plus 2, okay, and you hit equals, and I don't know why it gave me such a 8 point but I have 8 listed there, probably because my whatever I have on there, the function that I have on there gave me all those decimals on there. But anyways, it comes out 8, and then what you could do is you could work the back button and then just change those parenthesis values, those values for g. So your next one is -2. So instead of -1, I just go over and put in a 2. If you have a calculator like mine, if your calculator allows you to do that, and then the rest of it's in there, and hit it and you get 16, and you can check your answer, or you could just do order of operations like I do, and you could have you could just write it out, but that's if you're using the calculator. So you could pause this and slow this down, and you could see the steps. You could see how I get these. C is very easy. Once you throw zeros in there, you're just ending up with 2. And when you throw 5s in, it ends up looking like this. Just order of operations pretty much is what it turns into. Try 2 on your own. Go ahead and make mistakes. That's how we learn. Let's take a look at number 3. I'm substituting a -4 in for x whenever I see the x. Once again, if you're using a calculator, I would put that in parentheses, because what happens is if you don't put it in parentheses, it will square the 4, but it doesn't take into consideration the negative, and you would still have a -16 out here, and you get a wonky answer. And then B, substituting in 8 for your x value, substituting -1 for your x value, and for D, substituting 1 for your x value. Notice the difference between -1 and 1, which you end up getting. And then you have, like I said, order of operations after that. Just a couple more. Let g of x equal -7x plus 4. So in parentheses, I have my new x value, which is -5. And then I work it out. Then I change it to 2. Once again, you could set it up on your calculator and then just go in and change that value inside the parentheses, because that's that x. And the function of x is -1 for that one. And then 0, you have another 0, 1, multiply by 0, you're just left with the 4. And then for number 7, you have g of x, -4x squared. This one, is a lot. A quadratic equation, actually, -3x minus 7. So I substitute those x values in. You can see in parentheses those x values, what they end up being. I do order of operations, step by step, work left to right, end up with 69 for A, end up with -8 for B, which is you're substituting a -1 in for x. G, you're substituting a 0 in. That makes life easy. This becomes easy, 0, this becomes 0, so you're left with a -7 or a -7, which becomes a -7. And then here you're substituting 3 in, and you end up with -52. Good. So, try the other ones, try the evens on your own, just substitute those values in and work it out. It becomes a order of operations problem. So good luck.